All right, you can start.
Okay, thanks everybody for joining. Just because obviously we have 4 commissioners on limited time, 1 commissioner is actually working and has customers coming in. We're going to limit to audience of citizens. We can do approval of minutes and the consent agenda, okay? If there's some time to talk about something else, we can do that, but for right now, that's the plan. So anyone on for audience of citizens?
No, no one's on.
Hearing none, we'll move on. Can I take a motion to approve the minutes of March 9th, please?
So moved.
Second?
I'll
Second,
second it.
Joe seconds. Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor for March 9th minutes approval? Say aye.
Aye. Aye.
aye,
Thank you. Unanimous for the 4 people on. Consent agenda. I don't know if anyone has a lot of discussion items, but why don't we try doing a motion for items A through E to accept them?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items A through E.
Seconded.
I'll second it.
second.
Okay,
Go
thank
ahead,
you.
Don.
All right, Don seconds. Any discussion on the items? Okay, Jen, just one for A. I assume Spanish American Cultural Club, they pay for the pavilion?
Yeah, they do it every year.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you. And I will just make a note on item C for St. Paul. We've approved that each year. The one thing that we've noted is that in our policy, we're able to approve things that are not in the policy, but it may be something the commissioners want to add into the policy so that they don't have to come for an exemption each year. Again, it will be up to the commissioners. Jen and I discussed it in the last few weeks. There's a way for us just to add that, but limit it to a school that isn't, town. So a nonprofit school, or even if you wanted a profit school, if something should come in the future. But that being said, we need to provide that exemption that's on item C, as long as we approve it.
We treat St. Paul's like we treat everybody else, any other community user, right?
Right.
Softball, whatever, same thing.
Yep, they have to follow the same rules as everyone else and go through the
Okay.
waiver. They just are a group that usually does get approved because of what they do for the town,
Right.
which is in the letter.
And we don't know if they meet that 75% threshold. That's the issue.
They most likely do not.
Right, because
Oh, for town
I know
residents,
as a
yeah.
parishioner, a lot of the students come, from out of town and things like that. So that's why it might be something that we want to add to the policy. So, okay, any other questions, discussions? Okay, hearing none, there's a motion to accept consent agenda items A through E. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Okay, all 4 members approve items A through E. I just want to make a note. I happened to attend the Easter egg hunt at the high school, and Debbie and her team did a fabulous job. The first time that I ever did it with my grandkids and my daughter, and really, really good. And wow, the candy bars are huge. I said, this must be breaking our budget, but
I know.
everybody enjoyed it. They have pictures with the Easter Bunny. It really is pretty neat. And so I thank Debbie and her staff for putting that all together. It's nice to see.
I'll let her know.
Thank you. Okay, is there time, or does anyone want to bring up anything? Again, maybe Don has a couple of minutes, but we just don't have enough to do a whole meeting, so.
I'd love to hear the reports if you guys got them abbreviated or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Debbie's is in the thing. Debbie had a meeting. It was supposed to be done by now and she's stuck in it. So unfortunately, that's why she's not here.
I do not have a report. Mine will be
I
double
didn't
for
see
the
it,
next month.
Yeah,
I mean, Debbie's is there. If there's any issues, the Easter candy hunt went well. We had to move it inside because of the rain.
And Jen, assume, not enough, obviously, supervisor staff to even think about reversing our Hubbard decision, right?
Nope.
The council was notified, they accepted the fact that we won't be opening Hubbard due to staff. And that will be something that we really need to start discussing in May. And, what our plans are for this year, looking at Hubbard and going forward. So that will be on the agenda.
Okay,
Okay. All right. I will say, Steve and I, we attended, I'm trying to think now, town council meeting, I guess it was, or board of finance meeting. I know attended both. In any event, the playground capital, there's very little chance that anything's going to be spent for the playgrounds. There's 175,000 for the Willard playground, 200,000 for Little People's. Both need to be updated. We talked about them being squeezed. I actually sent a letter to Arosh praising Steve and his presentation and his passion that he gave to the Board of Finance, to the point where there's actually a couple of members that are supporting monies for playgrounds, just that unfortunately things got reversed. And, we'll see if there's anything in the surplus for this year that they end up giving us, but there's actually a couple that understand. There's also one in particular that, thinks everything is looking great and great shape and nothing needs to be done. So, the only chance we have is if there's some surplus monies, but there's so much to be done in this town for capital that I'm not, very optimistic.
Yeah, thank you, Donna. Let me hop in for 10 seconds there. As we had our final playground meeting today for the Willard playground to come up and decide what vendor we would go with and why we would go with that vendor. And it kind of brings us to the point where if we were given a certain amount of money, we would have to decide what playground we want to put that money towards. I would imagine the decision will probably be made between Jen and I, and then we'll bring it to you guys for further discussion. If we're not given enough time to bring it to you guys first, is my only reservation with, as old as Willard Playground is we need to decide what we want to do. Our complaint that I'm getting and Jen has gotten, we've all gotten throughout the years, is our public playgrounds that are opened all day long. So that I kind of think that, and I kind of explained that today, that I think part of our decision would go that way over Willard. And I think we should have more of a partnership with the BOE when it comes to doing playgrounds on school grounds.
Yeah, and I will say I did have a discussion with Jeff Cugno, business director for the Board of E. I know Jeff, and with Steve's assistance, that they've returned a surplus each year from their Board of Ed budget. So I said, Jeff, if you have a surplus, why don't you put in some monies, and maybe we can get the Board of Finance to put in some monies for the Willard playground. Use the surplus for the playground. It is a priority for the Board of Ed to get that done. And his position, and I guess Brian Benigni's right now, is because of the budget and the budget squeeze on the Board of Ed, right or wrong, that if they do have a surplus this year, they're going to use it for school things, so that will allow them some room to reverse some of the cuts that may need to be made to the Board of Ed's budget. So that's their position right now. So.
And I think Steve makes a good point that if we are handed down some form of surplus money for a playground, I think it's really wise to look at something like Little People's versus Willard, because Little People's, it's an opportunity for people that are not in school that they can use it outside during school hours. And I think you're servicing more people that way.
Yeah.
And also I have a lady from the Kensington Garden Club who has reached out to a company to come in and start doing some design work on the front of Little People's. And I've explained to them that any donation or anything that will happen needs to come to you guys. My biggest reservation with this lady is I don't know what she's looking for. I don't know if she's looking for some type of pollinator garden or anything like that. And what scares me with the pollinator garden right off the get-go is anaphylactic shock and bees. So I'm not in favor of any part of this without a full description of exactly how they're going to maintain it, what they're going to bring, and how it's going to affect us.
Yeah.
So And I told them we're slated to pave that parking lot September, October of next year, and try to reconfigure some things to try to get more of a 5% pitch with a handicap ramp going into the current gate that's there. So there's a lot of other things that we'll discuss at next month's meeting, which will probably be pretty lengthy, but I just want to get that out to you guys now, that if you hear somebody, her name might be Carol Kearney or Carol something or other. If you hear somebody saying, hey, they're looking into designs for Little People's Playground, for the front of it to make it more aesthetic and more inviting, that I have not been to a meeting, I will not attend a meeting, I will not have any part of it until they bring it to you guys, and then at that time, we
Yeah.
agree as a committee.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna do things like you said, might be a little premature to put these things in, wait till it's all done, the paving and all that, so. Okay. Thanks for the heads up then.
The vandalism pictures from Sage, are you going to the police department with that?
No. I'll reiterate the same thing I think with signs. There's
Signs
nothing
and-
that's going to happen. We'll
Well,
bring this up
the
next
reason
meeting too.
I'm sorry, the only reason I say that is because, so if this happened that night, right? Were they not all these people parking in the parking lot? Were
That
they-
would be my guess.
Yeah, yes, that would be. So wouldn't it, since the police department does heavy patrols on the turnpike because of vandalism or car break-ins or whatever, couldn't they just reroute once in a while through Sage?
I'm not going to speak for Jen, but I believe we have sent numerous emails to the police department, especially with groups that use the field at night to take extra rides through there for precautionary measures. I mean, there could have been a lacrosse game going on or an event on Scalise, which would have given us 10 or 15, 20, 30 cars there. And those cars would have just blended in like normal.
Yeah, we ask every season for them to do patrols once the fields open up in the evenings.
I mean,
The
I
only
guess my-
thing,
my-
the only thing, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Go
Don.
ahead, Don.
I was gonna say, the only thing that I saw in Tony's pictures that, resonated with me was it looked like there was some type of party banners. Are those always on there, or was somebody actually having an event?
So I believe on Saturday, there was a birthday party and the kids showed up afterwards, and that's where they lit the garbage can on fire. And as the garbage can was on fire, they threw it off, and that's what almost possibly started a brush fire. So that garbage can that does not have a garbage bag in it that is black is what they started the fire in. And then they continued to use other logs and branches, which you can see in Tony's picture, and beer bottles and vodka bottles and gin bottles that were all part of the destruction that took place there that Saturday night after the birthday party was completed. We had
Okay,
not,
so
go ahead.
it was, so Steve, it was after those, it was not part of that group at all that had the birthday party.
No,
And
Okay.
for the record, we did not have a reservation for a birthday party.
Nice. That's
Oh,
even
great.
better. Perfect.
Do we know
That's-
who used it?
I have no idea.
How do you know there was a birthday party? Just,
I think there was a banner or something on the ground that said happy birthday with a bunch of streamers and stuff.
Right.
I know that's not a lot of monetary damage there besides your guys' labor to go there and clean up the mess. I mean, it's not like, something got really broken. But with the fact of that branch that was shoved into the fireplace and that was, charcoaled, I'm going to myself, it's 5 minutes away from the whole pavilion being torched. Right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
5 minutes away from being lit on fire with doing the stuff that they did. I didn't know they lit the garbage can on fire. I just saw the branch. I didn't look inside the garbage cans. But that right there is enough, enough flames, the whole thing's going up.
Yep, and I don't know if you guys saw it or if Bill DeMayo posted it, but supposedly they hit Mill Pond again and they torched another $3,000 porta potty.
Yeah. Wallingford had a vandalized park as well. It's everywhere right now.
Yeah.
I-
Well, that's why I'm just saying, maybe just,
We could give them another heads up, like,
You
hey.
know, just let them know that-
patrols.
Because the
Yeah,
next time they come out, it's gonna be with the fire department to put the pavilion out of,
Right.
Yeah.
and then,
But
and why don't the neighbors across the pond know or see any of that? I mean, they're right there, those two houses,
Yeah, they call when the lights are left on or the music's
Yeah.
too loud.
but they don't call in the middle of the night when the kids are torching a garbage can?
And parties.
I mean, there's a plethora of things Jen and I can discuss ad nauseum of things that have happened in the last couple of weeks. And I mean, for one instance is, we need to come up with some type of consensus of how we're going to start to try to combat what's going on at the basketball courts at the high school. 2 Sundays ago, maybe 3 Sundays ago, I received a text email from the head custodian of bottles being smashed in the parking lot. When I got to there the next day, there was that, I got the email on Saturday, I went Sunday morning, there was 7 bottles of booze smashed in the parking lot. There was enough trash that it took our guys 3 hours to pick up, and it was an all-out party. The amount of trash is unheard of that is happening at the basketball courts this year. The vandalism that's taking place inside of the high school parking lot. I don't know if it comes to the point where at some point we put a sign up, if this park is not kept clean, we are going to take the basketball courts away and take the hoops off. But I was hoping with us not going there this week that somebody would have called and filed a complaint so we can get some type of dialogue going.
Yeah.
Some resident was nice enough
I'm
to go there
surprised.
and pick up all the trash that was there Monday.
Don't you
I'm
have a
surprised
chronic
no neighbors
complainer there?
actually spoke.
Yeah, one neighbor that calls you no matter what happens there. Don't you, isn't there one neighbor there that does that?
We haven't heard anything since last spring when we had all the issues.
I wonder if they did.
I used to get a
police.
call every single Monday morning and I have not had that call in a long time.
Wow. that's
Yeah, the
weird.
guy from John
John the dog walker.
John the dog walker who works at Stop and Shop. We have not heard from him in over 2 years.
Why? He just
Okay.
gave up or did he move away? You know?
I haven't seen him walking with his dog, so maybe his dog might have passed.
Yeah.
We do, by talking to some of the residents that live on Brandy Lane, Kate Moss and them, there has been a plethora of phone calls to the Berlin Police Department regarding this. But I mean, 7 broken bottles is
That's bad.
a hazard. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's bad.
we had highway come with the street sweeper. We had
Yeah.
guys there for 3 hours. They swept the parking lot. They cleaned it, but they did the best. I mean, Steve's guys did a phenomenal job. Our guys did a great job working with them. But how many more times are we going to sit there and say, what do we do next?
I
What do
know.
we do next?
I know.
So, see, Jen and Steve, maybe think about, maybe we have the chief or deputy chief of police come to our meeting and just say, we need to talk about the vandalism. We realize it's happening in, other areas, personal cars and things like that, but maybe we need to talk about this.
And PD is short-staffed too, which I know that's one of the things he will say.
And what?
The PD is short-staffed as well right now
Yeah.
too.
Oh, and they are, that's true. But at least we have that dialogue going and we start, from the commission standpoint, start pushing it a little bit more. I appreciate your efforts and everything like that, but it's not, we're not going anywhere. And I don't know if it's going to help, but we need to start that dialogue.
I
don't
mean,
know
I'm
how-
almost more happy we're not getting the calls because maybe that means they are calling the police directly, like Steve said.
I mean, another idea that I had, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, is why don't we look into working with the school and the school security on putting a gate up? And the gate would be at the entrance from the entrance coming in to the student parking lot. And the gate would be open when the first custodian comes in the morning. The gate would be locked at the end of the day. And hey, lights shut off at 10 o'clock now, 9 o'clock now. We dial park closes at 9 o'clock, cars will be towed. We put a gate up and that prevents anybody from having access down there. Debbie Dennis had a great question, like, well, what do you do for the groups that have it? Well, the groups that have it would have the key to be able to go down there if there was lacrosse practice, soccer practice, track practice. The gate would still become unlocked, but it's probably one of the only ways we're going to secure and prevent the vandalism and what is going on inside of that parking lot. I mean, you're talking 10, 15, 20 cars of kids that are there every single weekend. I mean, drive through on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning. I know Don rides his bike through there sometimes, and just look at the amount of trash from the night before.
It just, if the neighbors called the police, didn't the police go down there? Like, did everybody escape before the police went down there, or they couldn't get down there? So
Yeah.
that's what I don't understand on this. And I'll talk, if the Mosses, ended up calling,
We had,
I'll talk to
I have a building.
actually, they were away. They were away Saturday. They were away for the whole weekend, so they weren't around.
It would have been 3 weeks ago.
Oh, it was
Just-
3,
just-
I'm sorry.
Just ask her
Okay.
about the noise coming from the parking lot at all hours of the night.
Yeah, no, I always hear an earful, but I mean, I haven't this year at all from them, but, okay, I'll talk to them.
I have a building on New Britain Road and we had a strange person wandering around the building throughout the night. And it was caught on somebody's Ring camera, you know, so 2 people called the police and waited for them. They never showed all night. They never came out.
Really? I mean, I could appreciate the fact that they're understaffed, but boy, that's just kind of,
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah, and they didn't call.
Strange
or anything.
person
Yeah,
on Ring, 2 people calling and they never came.
wow.
I know they're short-staffed. I've talked to them myself about it, but I know, and I know they go to the highest areas wherever they're having, but still, I mean, you know, we need,
Okay.
you know,
And
people driving through once in a while will be helpful.
yeah, just to let you guys know too, remember the citizen? I sent that letter in about fields and all that. They actually confirmed receipt. I think I forwarded to the commissioners, just to let you
Yep.
know. Okay, they said yes, blah, blah, blah. Never showed up. Wasn't in, right?
Yep.
So then I followed up. I've called, I emailed this person. When you call, I get a personal voicemail of someone. It doesn't even say Berlin Citizen or Record Journal. They like have someone handling it for them. So no response whatsoever. And it pisses me off, quite frankly, because they pick and choose, obviously. You know, Brendan got a big letter in there for the budget, you know, so, but nothing else. And it's not just us it's happening to other commissions and also to nonprofits trying to get things in, you know, for, you know,
It's not a
memberships or
hometown
whatever.
paper anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
But
there's as
I'm
much
glad
stuff
at least
in
we
there about
posted on
marriage than
Facebook,
anything.
so.
Yeah, and as we get more youth groups kicking off the season, baseball, softball, and all these other groups, is if I'm spending 3 hours with 4 guys cleaning up Berlin High School in Sage Park,
Yeah, you
there's a
can't-
group, there's a youth group who's not getting my services that day. And
Yeah.
that's what I have to say to them. This destructive vandalism and safety
Right.
issues of broken glass trumps anything else that's at any other field.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one
All right,
last
thanks.
question.
So, Jen, do you-
Last thing. Jen, have you
Yeah.
issued, is your K-9 department issued tickets now that the warning period is over?
Written
people?
tickets start May 1st.
Oh, May 1st.
Yeah, written warning started April. I actually have a meeting with them on Friday to see how it's been going because they both weren't in last Friday, or I was out last Friday. And written tickets are actually starting May 1st. And we let the council know that was happening and they seem supportive of it, so.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how many you guys start
Me
actually
too.
passing
We're
out.
we're keeping a log of those separately, just so we
yeah.
have something to go back to the council with.
Good,
We tried putting in the budget to move our part-time animal control officer to full-time, so she could do like a midday shift and work more in the evening hours, but that was cut from the budget.
Perfect.
They put a policy in, but no way to follow it. Okay.
I like how
All right.
that works.
What are we doing here?
Jen, should I reach out to the chief of police or do you want to see
If
if?
we think we want to have him at our May meeting, I will invite him. We want to make sure
Out of
that
the rest of the
what's going to be on the
commissioners?
agenda, make sure you have specific things on the agenda that you're going to bring up to him. And if you guys can organize that and let me know, then I will reach out to him and invite him.
Bring your list of crime,
Yep.
all your vandalism. I mean, I'd be happy to have him attend the meeting, you know, as long as we have enough things to, I mean, if it's.
Yeah, I don't want to waste his time. So we
Yeah,
have the
there's only
pavilion
one
right
time.
now
No, no, no.
and we have the basketball courts.
But he
Well,
can
we
also
can-
come by Zoom.
Yes.
Sure. And we can have a discussion. We know the list of items and we can make that list. And honestly, I know cameras aren't the thing to do for them and all that, but I think we need to talk to them about it. Or some preventative thing.
Um,
Go
I-
ahead,
I-
Steve.
you guys are taking all my thunder.
Say-
We
say-
weren't
yeah,
having a
we're on the-
meeting.
we're on the same page, though. You got to say it now.
Okay, so there are going to be 8 cameras installed at Scalise. They should have been installed a few weeks ago. We're a little behind and they finally are coming in. What currently happened is, and we don't know how, what, where, or when, but somehow on a Wednesday night, the alarm was set off at a building. I got there, I locked the door, I left. When I got back home, the door was opened again and an alarm went off. So since then, with the amount of investment with the scoreboard, with the new field, the youth room and everything, we have now removed the ice machine out of the back room where the ice machine was, which we call the mechanical room. The ice machine has been moved into the kitchen. Now that room is now known as the server mechanical room, and that is locked. We are making new keys for everybody to enter into the youth room. You will not be able to enter the youth room from the backside where Sage lacrosse and soccer stuff is. So there'll be no entry point at that time. There will be cameras inside the youth room. There'll be cameras outside looking east, west, north, south, around the perimeter of the building. And that is where our first phase of having some type of security. It'll be monitored by anybody who has the app. IT thinks that's the best way to move forward. So we're going to start to have a better idea of what's going on there and hopefully to expand off of that. We're unfortunately, as I'm the negative Nancy, we're not there to be able to add all these new components because we just don't have the Wi-Fi connectivity, which we thought we would have had, but we don't. So maybe when we redo the parking lot, we might be able to put some lines in that'll get us what we need at the next location.
How did this get kicked off like that? I mean, we just talked about cameras, and there was nothing.
You guys asked us to follow up with Brian and Doug, and that's exactly what Steve did. I give him all credit on this.
So they just, all of a sudden, they had a.
So they
plan.
said, okay, to cameras?
We didn't bring the chief back into a meeting. We just went through IT, and IT has been setting up cameras at other town buildings. So it kind of fell in with what his plan of security is at this time.
Wow, that's
Good.
amazing.
So
Too
we
bad
should
all the
expand
hands
it.
don't know what's going on.
Because I recently put cameras off at animal control too. So he's putting them at other town buildings. So it was kind of just part of that whole plan.
We're not, trust me when I say this, and I am not in the business of having kids arrested, ticketed, thrown in jail for hopping over the field at Scalise. We understand the kids that are hopping the fence at Scalise, that is going to end once Biscoglio is built and completed. So we know that problem is going to go by the wayside. So that's not the reason for the cameras is not to find people hopping the fence. The reason for the cameras is the vandalism and the shenanigans that have been taking place over the last 5 years.
Are we going to publicize that at all?
I think we have to by law. I think we have to put cameras. I think we have to put signs, and I imagine there's got to be something in the newspaper somewhere or on the Facebook page.
In Facebook?
I'm not sure if we have to do that or not. I know we have to put up signs that cameras are there, but I don't know if we have to announce it. But
So this was part of
I
IT's.
I apologize, Donna and commissioners. I've got to drop off. I got
okay.
to start getting on to a 12:30 call.
Thank you, Joe, for
So
coming
I do
on.
apologize.
Thank you. See you at
Thanks,
the next
everybody.
meeting. Hey, Joe,
It was something.
Yeah.
if we think, the rest of us think that there should be the police commissioner, do you agree with that to come to our meeting or not?
I think so. I think it's important that they understand the implications and, the financial implications that are associated with the vandalism that goes on. I like Steve's approach, right? We're not in a business to get people arrested and stuff like that. But once in a while, if you drive through, right, people are going to get the message that you're going around town and you're checking up on stuff. And I appreciate the fact that they feel that they're understaffed. I'm sure that they are understaffed. But that doesn't mean things don't get done, though, all right? It means that we try to figure out a path forward, even if it's a minimal amount of coverage, but we can't just say, I'm understaffed, I can't send somebody out there. And
That happened
if
in
anybody
some other
disagrees
instance,
with
but-
that, by all means, put it out there. I'm more than happy to have that discussion, but I just, to say so if I call the police and say I got an emergency, I'm understaffed, I can't show up, that doesn't work.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't.
Right, okay. All right, thanks, Joe. See you at the
All
next
right.
meeting.
Hey, just one last comment. I don't know if anybody saw it last Friday on the news. Big deal about the state of Connecticut with lifeguards and shortage of lifeguards at the state beaches and a bunch of stuff that they were going to try to do in terms of getting people certified and things like that. I thought it was really interesting that it was now flagged at the state level. And I know we've been talking quite a bit about it, but it's just kind of interesting that it's all over the place.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Take care.
Take care. Yep. All right.
You want
Okay.
to wrap up and push everything to May?
Yes. So, Tony, you and I take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, excuse me.
Second. All right. Thanks, guys. I'm
See you
glad
later.
we had some time to discuss some
Bye.
items. Appreciate it.
Have a
Thanks,
great night,
guys.
great
All right,
day,
thanks a
everybody.
lot.
Take
Thank you,
care. Have a
guys.
good day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.